Welcome, Capstone students. Congratulations on making it to week 6. I knew you could do it. So this week we have some guest speakers. They're here to talk to us from HTMJobs.com. They're going to go through their process, and then they're going to talk to everybody about the kind of things that you can do for yourself and prepare for to get that job that you want, or help you meet that goal to get that job that you want. So Kristen, take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Like Christian said, my name is Kristen Register. I am one of the recruiting specialists for HTMJobs.com. I graduated from Georgia Southern University with a degree in management and marketing. So I am not very familiar with all the little bits and details of the biomed world, but we are slowly learning through this thing. So it's been great to learn a little bit more. I'll let Sydney introduce herself and then we'll get started.
Hi guys, I'm Sydney Krieg. I'm the other recruiting specialist for HTM Jobs with Kristen. I went to school at the University of Colorado in Boulder, and I majored in psychology and business. So like Kristen, we're kind of learning along the way, but we're happy to give you guys this presentation.
So first, we're just going to start a little bit on how HTM Jobs got started. I'm not sure how familiar all of you are with it. We are actually a branch underneath TechNation magazine, which is the leading magazine in the HTM field. If you're not subscribed to that, definitely subscribe to that. I can send you over some information. We do monthly magazines with anything new in the HTM field. So underneath TechNation, we thought we need to create this job board, a one-stop shop, a nice little niche market for the HTM field, speaking with a lot of employers that are using LinkedIn, Indeed, the larger job boards. They weren't getting kind of the qualified candidates they were looking for. So we wanted to create somewhere where we could directly target the industry and directly connect the students or candidates to the employers. So we've been around about 8 months and we already have over 1,000 registered. That's the cool little graphic that you see here. We have people registered in almost every state. So along with that, this number I think probably is close to almost double by now. We started, like I said, 8 months ago, already have over 336 jobs posted. I think you all know in the industry, there's more jobs than there are people to fill them. So you are in high demand. So we are really here to kind of help you find that perfect job after you graduate, finish any certification you have. That's what we're here to do. So I'm going to let Sydney kind of walk through step by step how you can register to HTM Jobs, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. So HTMJobs.com is completely free to register. It's a really simple process that I'll walk you guys through. All of your information is kept confidential. What we aim to do is to have you register while you're still in school, while you're looking for a job, and kind of stick with us throughout your career as BMETs and whatever else you continue on to do. So you'll go to the website, you'll click the registration tab, and it'll take you to a page like this. This is just your basic information. You'll make a username and password, your account information, so email, phone, all those types of things, what current job you have, so you guys can put student, and then the address that you currently live at. And then after you fill that out, this is arguably the most important information we'll get from you guys. So this is where you get to tell us your desired location, so where you want to live. The cool thing is that you can click multiple boxes for all these questions. So if you're open to relocating to, say, the Southeast and the Northeast, you can click both of those and it comes up on your profile. You put in your salary requirements. You can do a range there. And then also what type of position you're looking for. You can, like I said, put multiple checked boxes there. So this page really helps us when new jobs become available. It helps us figure out which ones to send to you guys, which ones are preferred, which ones that might interest you. So it helps us narrow it down, and it helps narrow you down as a candidate. After you complete that information, it'll ask you your highest level of education and any certificates that you might have. It's super easy to go back in and update your profile. So once you guys get more trainings, more certificates under your belt, you can go in and quickly check those off. We wanted to make sure that you were able to keep this as up to date as possible. We either have added or are adding for the highest level of education. We are going to put an in progress based on our conversations with you guys. You can put an in progress associates, in progress bachelors, those type of things. And that way you can go back in once you've graduated and update that. So all of that can be done on a smartphone. It's really easy to register. And then you'll be asked to upload some documents. So none of these are required, but if you don't do them the first time around, we highly recommend that you go back. So it'll ask you to upload your resume, cover letter, and any letters of recommendation you might have. Once your resume is on your profile, that makes it really easy for us. Once you guys have applied for a job, we can go into your profile. Once you've applied, we can grab your resume, send it off to the employer immediately, and that really speeds up the process. These are the things that kind of set you apart and stand you out amongst the rest of the candidates, because a lot of people register, forget to go back. It's a whole process. So if the full profile is complete by the time you register, that'll really set you up for success. And then lastly, it'll ask you your years of experience in the field. If you have a LinkedIn page, if you don't have a LinkedIn page, we recommend making one ASAP. That's how you're going to be able to find, employers, find companies that you're interested in working for, those type of things. It's a great way to get connected. And then the last box will ask you if you want to be contacted with employment opportunities. So if we list a new job on the site, if you want to be emailed about that, those type of things. And then after you do all that, you'll just click register, and now you'll be a part of our talent network. So once you've done all the registration, it shouldn't take too long. Then you can, this is your profile page. So this is where you'll be able to manage all of your information. So you have the My Resume tab. So if you have an updated resume, say you have just graduated or you have a certificate and you want to put that on, you can quickly fix your resume and then upload it to the site. We want it to stay very current. My bookmarks, if you're looking through jobs and you don't want to apply right then and there, click it, and then you can go back on your profile and find all the jobs there. And then the My Alerts tab is the coolest feature that we'll go into next. So this is where you can set parameters for how frequently you want to be notified of new jobs. So you'll just plug in your information, your email, how often you want to be notified, so you can get notified daily or weekly. And then this will be how we send you e-blasts for the newest jobs that are on the site. So you can set your parameters that way and make it a little bit more personalized.
Okay, so now I'm going to pull up the actual website so you can really figure out what it looks like and get a feel for it. So once you create your candidate profile, like Sydney just showed, this is our homepage. This is what you're going to see first. This is where you go, like Sydney just explained, you can easily access your resume and go to the dashboard where all those cool features are. So if you're looking for a job, you can look for all jobs. And we also just added this great internship tab. So if you're looking for an internship, instead of sifting through all the jobs, you can directly find that here. So once you click all jobs, it pulls up this page. They're listed from our newest postings to our oldest postings. These two cool little features up here, if you're looking for something specific, you can just type it up here. If you're looking for maybe like a manager role, that'll pop up very quickly if it has that keyword there. Same with location. If you're looking for somewhere specific, it can pull up exactly what you're looking for there. So you scroll through kind of what you're looking for. You think, okay, I want to be a BMET 2 in Cincinnati, Ohio. So it shows the company you would be working for, how many jobs they have available on the site. And then if you want to learn a little bit more about the company, their website's listed right here. You can learn more from their homepage, which is neat. It'll show you exactly where the location is, the category, and the job type. So you can read through the description. You see that works for you. You have everything you need to do the role well. You see that it's the location, state that you want. And so you can either bookmark it, or you can go straight into, let's see. Let me pull up one that's an online application. So we're going to do, let's look up Willow Medical in Sanford, North Carolina. So again, you see the company, you scroll to the very bottom and you can do an easy online application. So I know one of the hardest parts kind of applying for a job is the lengthy application. You really have to sit down and take time to fill that out. We have a great easy online application that's just your name, your email, a little message where you can really show why you think you'd be a great fit for the job, why you're applying for the job, anything you want the employer to know, you can type here. And then you can attach your resume, cover letter, letters of recommendation, anything like that here. And then it sends it straight off to the employer. So yes, Christian.
I have a question. So you mentioned the cover letter that you could attach here.
Mm-hmm.
For that little area, that text box that you can type in, maybe your cover letter or the main paragraph of your cover letter could go there, something like that.
Absolutely. I think that would definitely grab the attention, because when an employer is looking at the full application that they get from HTM Jobs, the message box is one of the first thing that pops up. I do see a lot of applications come through of if they have something specific, like if they're trying to relocate and the employer sees that they're halfway across the country, they don't want to be completely disregarded. So they'll put, I'm currently living, but I'm looking to relocate to, in the message box, or I think I'd be a great fit because of X, Y, and Z. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Definitely put personalized things there. So once you send off the application, Sydney and I also get an alert, completely confidential, and the employer does as well. But we like to do kind of a double check, make sure the employer knows, hey, Christian just applied for this job. He seems like a great qualified candidate. Do you need us to do anything else before you connect with them directly? So that's kind of where we come into play versus the larger job boards. Sydney and I are constantly looking at the applications coming through, making sure that you're not waiting weeks for an interview to happen. We want it to be immediate. So that's a really nice feature that we can offer. Another thing I want to point out, if you're not actively looking for a job right now, HTM Jobs is still a great resource. We have a career center that we post weekly articles in. Our most recent one I wanted to point out because I think it might be the most helpful right now, and that's make the interview match the resume. So we have a partnership with Ray Martin at Insight HTM. He's a co-founder of that. He kind of took a non-traditional route, biomed route. So he writes some really cool articles on the different paths you can take in your career. This specifically just talks about what a good resume looks like. And if you click here to download, this is Ray's full resume. It's a great template. So you can use that exactly how he has it. Just take out his information, fill in yours. Definitely use this as a great tool. Again, you can send it also to Sydney and I. We'd be happy to review any resumes that you send over, because this is so important to employers. Typos, grammar, keywords, we'll get into that more, but this is a great article that really points out what the key points of a resume should be. And then we also have some great articles just about once you enter in the work field. So how to approach political conversations at work, a BMET's Quest for Quality from HTM Frontlines. And then we also did a special webinar in February with some industry professionals. David Francoeur with TKA was the moderator, and we had Perry Kerwin with Banner Health in Arizona, Ray Martin, who writes the articles for us, and then Erica Cumberston with Agility. If you want to go back and watch this this webinar, that would be great. It's free, and they talk a lot about soft skills and how important that is. You know, you're in school right now, you're in training, you know the technical side better than anyone, but the soft skills isn't necessarily something you learn in the classroom, but it's so important in an interview and on the job. So this is such a nice little webinar where you can hear a little bit more about what the hiring managers are looking for in that field. So definitely access the Career Center. And I think, let's see, that might be all I have to say about the Career Center. Yes. So before we move on, do we have any questions over how to register, how to get into your portal or anything like that? Okay, great. We'll ask at the end for questions if you think of something in the meantime. So this is just a nice little graphic. So if you're not familiar, like I said, with HTM Jobs, we have quite a large reach in the HTM industry with our Technation magazine, our ICE magazine, which is for imaging and radiology. So if you decide to take the career path to do a little bit more education and go down imaging radiology route, we have a magazine that you can subscribe to for that as well. And we also do in-person shows. So with COVID, we had to pivot a little bit. So usually we do our MD Expos. That is normally one in the spring and one in the fall. We just had our MD Expo in Dallas. I'm sure Christian and Cody told you about. That's where we got to connect there. We had about over 500 attendees total. It's really, really great if y'all are able to go. It's free for healthcare workers, students, military. We wanted to make it free so you can just have a place to come and network. Again, those are where those soft skills come into handy as well. Just getting out, talking to employers, talking to Sydney and I, that really helps set you up for success. And we also do HTM mixers, so they're much smaller. We have one coming up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and one in Kansas City. So I will send Christian and Cody over that information to share with y'all. Again, it's free. I think that would be a really neat opportunity if y'all can make that. So, and then also we have a great social media presence. We know how important social media is nowadays. So LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Sydney's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yep, so we have a growing social media presence. We know a lot of you guys are young. We wanted to, this is how Chris and I are young. This is how we consume most of our information. So we wanted to stay up to date as possible on this. So you'll find HTM Jobs on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Instagram. So we post daily graphics of the newest jobs we have. We feature new employees, new employers. We highlight Career Center articles, things like that. So we'll encourage you guys to follow and like all of those pages. It's a quick way to get updates if you don't want to go back and check on the site. And then also when you register to the site, you automatically get subscribed to our e-newsletter that goes out every Thursday. So similarly to the social media pages, this is where we'll list any new employers that we're featuring, any new jobs, any new Career Center articles. So we wanted it to be easy for you guys to get this information and not have to go back to the site every day.
So that's kind of all we have to how to register. It's so simple, easy, and quick. If you have any questions while you're registering, there is a live chat feature as well. So you can chat. That'll be Sydney and I on the other end of that. So if you have any questions while you're registering, you can feel free to pop in there. But now we kind of want to leave this open. I know Christian has a few questions to ask as well, but if anyone has anything over what we just discussed, hit us.
Because I can't remember, is the Technation magazine or the ICE, are those free or do you have to pay for those?
Those are completely free.
Because I get one every month, but I don't remember how I signed up for it. It's been a while. It's about 8 months. But I'd like to just throw out there that there's a lot of really good articles in there. You hear from different biomeds around the country. They shout out, there's a featured biomed or featured shop. They do giveaways. Really interesting reads. So just sign up for it.
We have also a digital copy as well.
Okay.
So you can go on our website, and we also, I want to mention, through Technation, we do webinar Wednesdays. I'm sure you're probably familiar. I know we all just had, CBET just sponsored one. So we do those, and those are archived in our Technation website as well. So you can go back and watch those for free at any time. So everything's free. We try to keep it free.
All right. So of the 7 students that are here, are any of you seeking a new job in the career field shortly? I know, Sadie, you said you have a few months left. Have you started looking in your area?
I haven't yet, but it's really helpful that you mentioned that we can look for different cities because, I do have plans to relocate after I graduate. So that was helpful information. But now that I have all this info, I will start looking into it and take these resources.
Yeah, perfect. Kristen, so for like Sadia, you have, excuse me, Sadia, so you might want to relocate, but some companies will pay for you to relocate too, right?
A lot of companies definitely pay relocation.
Even for like a CBET 1 position?
It just depends on the company and how immediate the hire is. I know, especially cities that aren't necessarily have a high demand, they're trying to pull in as many people or candidates as possible. So we recently had a job listing, I know, at the VA in New York, and they are adding a hiring bonus and relocation to really kind of boost that job listing. So I think it depends company to company or a healthcare facility, but that's definitely something that you can negotiate with the employer if you're looking to relocate.
Yeah, and um, it's hard to put a number on that kind of stuff, but I mean, it could be 5,000 or more to help you relocate, and with the sign-on bonus, like it could be a decent chunk to help you get started. So don't like downplay it at all. Even if it's like 2 towns over, you could be like, well, I got to move. Is there any way that, or do you guys offer anything to help us? So definitely.
Sydney,
Very helpful information. I didn't know that. So yeah, that's great.
Sydney and
Okay.
I had a candidate one time. We sent him something and he said that he was way too qualified for it. And we said, you know what? Know your worth. That is the number one thing that you can say about yourself is know your worth. Know that you can negotiate exactly what skills and assets you can bring to this company. So when you're talking to these employers, be confident in what you're saying. And more than likely, they will follow your terms because they need you there.
There you go. So to get the questions started, besides making sure that the employers have your name on their post-it note of definitely probably should look at people, what other kinds of ingredients are in the secret sauce that you offer, which of course is completely free to anybody that you're trying to help get a job for?
Yeah, so along with the resume, the templates, all of those things, the Career Center articles, there's tons of stuff in there, not just if you're already in the industry, but interview tips, those type of things are super helpful, even if you haven't graduated yet, to kind of get ahead of the game on those things. And then kind of like we talked about a little bit during the presentation, I think something that makes HTMJobs.com really unique is that there are 2 of us there. We see your application come in, we look over it. We speak to the employers almost daily and give them updates. We have relationships with them. That way, when you apply to a job and we see something come in, we immediately connect you with them as opposed to just applying kind of blindly on one of those sites. I know I had to do that a few times when I was looking for jobs. So we really want to make sure that there's that personal aspect that a lot of the bigger job boards are kind of missing. So we make sure, like Kristen said, your application doesn't go unnoticed for weeks at a time. We stay up to date. We check in throughout the process. If you're on your final interview, those type of things, we are kind of there from start to finish, which I feel like is pretty unique when it comes to looking for a job. So we do that. And like I said, we're always there. So we've had conversations with people over the phone. Like, I am not really looking to relocate right now, or I'm kind of happy with where I'm at in my career, but X, Y, and Z. So we have these conversations. We kind of have a leg up because of the Tech Nation and the ICE magazine. We're pretty connected that way. So we're there to help you guys. So to have the conversations, to help you get the job, those type of things.
True advocates, right?
Yes, always.
Cody, you want to be a cheerleader? HTM, the way to go. HTM, the way to go. I don't have moves, but here, I can just shout it out. Okay, so let's see. So most of your employers, or most of the employers, contact you directly, or do you have another process to help kind of collect those jobs instead of just trolling Facebook all day?
So on HTM Jobs, there is a job posting submission. So employers hear about us, they go to our website to kind of see what we're about, how many jobs we have posted, and there's a form they can fill out with their information, how many jobs they're looking to post, and a little bit more information. I handle more of the sales aspect. So I contact the employers, have a conversation with them, figure out exactly what they're looking for, what job listing package would work best for them. We also do scroll through LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, find people through that. But I guess, again, our number one way to really reach people is through our magazines. We have a whole, there's, I think, over 12,000 people subscribe to Tech Nation and around 11,000 to ICE. So 24,000 right there.
Wow.
That we can reach out to that are in a hospital, ISO, OEM. So we have all kind of different channels and avenues to go down to, whether that's just cold calling or reaching out or having them come to us. I think we just see the need is huge and so apparent that I can just sit back and watch, web submissions come in, or in my downtime, I can go out and find new jobs, but there's constantly jobs. I think we listed around 25 just this past week. So there's never a shortage of jobs. I think there's a shortage of people. So you definitely have the advantage in the aspect of the employer's eyes.
There you go. I guess that would be a buyer's market, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, cool. So with your experience with resumes so far, what are like the top 3 things that you would suggest our students make sure that they really take that extra final draft review before they submit to you for your final review?
Yeah. I know this is kind of common sense, but grammar, spelling, typos, I can't tell you how many times employers will completely disregard, no matter what level of experience you have, will completely throw out your resume and not even consider you as a candidate if there's typos. Your resume is your document that basically is you, and it is an image of you, and you want to make sure that you've proofread it, your friends have proofread it, your family, your teachers, your professors, all those type of things. I would say that, and then my other contribution, then Kristen can say hers, but relevant experience. I think a lot of times we want to make our resumes as long as possible, as robust as possible, but a lot of those filler pieces just aren't relevant and it kind of cloud your level of experience. So my recommendation would be a shorter resume, but more saturated and have the experience that is specific to the job listing. So go on the job listing, see what skills they're looking for, what.
Oh
no.
It's okay. So Kristen, one of the questions I had is, let's say you worked at a Foot Locker, right? Would it be out of context to say that you had like team management skills because now you fostered your coworkers to help improve sales, or be more efficient, or you cleaned the break room and the back warehouse, you did the whole like organization system? So like those are skills that people might not think about. I work at McDonald's, I ain't got no skills, like, but you have customer service skills, you have order, what do you call it, like an error rate for your orders and stuff, right? So it's all about justifying the experience you do have and trying to put it together. Is that something in your wheelhouse? Like if somebody were to come to you and like, I've been a manager at Arby's, can you help me like bring relevancy to that? Is that something you guys would be able to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, like Sydney was saying, tailoring it to the job is the most important part. So if you're, say, applying for a more managerial role, I think that would be definitely something you could add on your resume. Maybe not 5 bullet points underneath, but maybe a brief little summary of exactly what you did there and why you included it on your resume. So if you did work at Foot Locker and you have great customer service skills, say exactly what you did in that role, customer service related. You don't have to put, well, I, organized the shoe rack. That's great, you did it, but they're looking more on transferable skills. And I think that's the most important part. And like Sydney said, we really want to do more quality over quantity. You would be surprised how many people they like to go to the gym. That's great. I like to go to the gym, but the employer doesn't necessarily want to see that. So I definitely think and again, if you have any questions regarding your resume, I know Manny, Christian, Cody, Sydney, and I, we'd be happy to look that over and kind of pinpoint down what each bullet point should look like. And then on top of that, I think a master resume is super important to have. So put down everything that you've ever done, work experience related, on one piece of paper, have it all that right there in front of you. And if you're applying for a specific job that doesn't need every single piece of information, that's great. You have your master list right here. You take piece A, piece C, piece F, and put that on your shortened resume for the specific job. I think that's really important because employers like to be right in front of them. They don't like wasting time. They want to see, okay, check, check, check. I'm going to give them a call, see how this first conversation goes. So that's a really cool, I think, tip that not a lot of people do, is making that master resume to pull from.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So I did come up with one thought on that.
Mhm.
So some of our technicians, right, they're in that entry level spot. Sadia, I don't know how long you've been out of high school, and it's okay. However, your job experience might be limited. And like we said, like you could work at 7-Eleven. If you did mowed lawns or did some of these things, right, that could be like project management or, child care administrator, chasing 5-year-olds around the house to like keep them from killing themselves or anybody else. Like that's a challenge, and if you can do that effectively, translating it is a big deal. So I don't want any of you to put down any experience you have, and I've seen it a lot and in our young military folks and others. Like they're like, I didn't do anything, I worked at my uncle's bodega. I'm like, well, you did stuff. You did inventory management, you did cash transactions, like serve 50 customers or more a day, like all that stuff. So it's all based on that. And one of the biggest BMET skills is customer service. We've talked about it, internal customers versus external customers. Patients to a hospital are external, but our customers are internal. So that's why it's very important that as an entry level, you want to speak to that as much as possible.
Mhm.
Oh, glad to have you back, Sydney.
All right, guys. I don't
No,
know
you're fine. You're fine. Okay, let's see. We've kind of talked about this, and so I'll let you guys talk about the automated keywords and things that when you submit a resume, like it tries to filter and match. So if you guys have any good insights on that, please.
Yeah, I think the number one thing for that is thoroughly reading through the job description. So you can find most keywords that you're looking for right there in the job description. They list out exactly the skills that you need, your daily tasks that you'll be doing, or your responsibilities are most likely going to be on the job description. So when you're applying for that job, make sure to include those keywords that for your first job here, you did this, which is going to translate over great for this responsibility. So I think just having the full job description right next to your resume as you're tailoring that is super important. And also one key point I want to kind of, it goes a little bit backwards into the other question as well, is your cover letter. I know Christian and I have kind of talked about, do employers actually look at that, or is that something that just goes straight in the trash? I think that's something definitely employers will look at. And again, if you don't have that full, role of great experience, that's where you can really sell yourself. I'm a quick learner. I am dedicated and motivated, and I can show that through this that I've done in my life. That is really where you can shine and set yourself apart if you don't have a full list of great experience. So that's definitely something that you need to add along with your application.
All right, good. Let's see. So I think a lot of your job descriptions hit on the certifications, like CompTIA is big, right? The A+, the N+, the S+, like BMATs with IT background. Would you say that they are maybe more easily placed in a job that they might want with any kind of IT background, more so than just somebody without it? I mean, obviously you have more skills, but
Yeah,
it can translate.
I think so. I definitely think that's something employers look for, even if it's not necessarily in the job description. Like you said, it doesn't hurt. But again, I don't think you'll be penalized necessarily if it's not in the job description. But any extra certification, what you're doing now, getting some CE credits, employers do look at that because that shows initiative and drive that you're trying to better yourself. So that shows once you get in that role, you're going to be constantly trying to better yourself at their company, which will in return better their company.
So, Sydney, as far as like alphabet soup under your name block, your signature block on your email, some people have like the entire alphabet. Do you think that on your resume, it's important to target some of those certifications versus having like CPR, PMP, CCNA, like all these things that maybe are good to have, but just not necessarily targeted? I don't know if you have any
Yeah, I
suggestions
mean,
on that.
CPR is very important. I'm not going to discredit CPR, but I think, like we kind of talked about earlier, having those certificates and those trainings kind of, in my mind, you prioritize your resume. So your experience, your previous jobs, your certificates or skills, you list them out in relevance. So the ones that are most relevant to the job you're applying for down to the least relevant, not saying that those aren't important, but definitely use the first couple bullet points to get across the things that the employers are looking for. So like we said, the certificates that might be relevant, going back, looking through the job description, seeing what exactly they're looking for. And then kind of like you talked about, Christian, going one step further. Maybe you don't have those certificates. Maybe you don't have that experience. Shape your experiences no matter what they are. Like we all start out somewhere. We all had to have, those jobs here and there. A lot of us don't have experience coming out of school. So shape the experiences that you do have into ones that pertain to that job. I think that that's the biggest thing. I know. It blows my
You
mind.
said it perfectly. Like that's exactly, you're shaping your experience towards, you're targeting your experience towards what you want them to know. Perfect. Beautiful.
It's been my experience with resume writing and many classes where I've had to write resumes for. It's kind of broken down into your general summary, and then skills. I know that like the skills section is where I was always told to put my keywords or power words that filter. So I would put, that section is where I'd put my certification. So I have Security Plus, right? So, and then you can filter that down into education, right? Your education section or your job section. So my question for Kristen and Sydney is, does it matter your template layout in like the HTM field versus like maybe some more general ones?
I think as long as it's organized in a professional layout, I know mine has varied as I've applied for different jobs. It just is kind of how I'm feeling, bullet points versus lines versus, as long as it's clear cut and precise, I think that is all you really need to show, is that you can put together a clean, precise document that is easy to read through, where you won't get confused and won't be, having to sit there and reread just to understand what's going on.
Yeah. And also, we just have to add Canva, Google, like there are so many free resources that all of us have used, that kind of like the Career Center article that Ray wrote. It's a template. It has all the experiences, it has the exact layout. You can pick which ones are best suited to your personality. Just keep it clean, keep it concise. And all you have to do is plug in your information. So that's a really great way. A lot of tools that a lot of people don't know about to go in and make it look a little bit more professional and kind of set you apart.
So I think Mr. Brummett can vouch for this. With resumes, everybody's a critic, right? Would you all agree? Like everybody has suggestions that's worked for them and everything, right? And so it's your work, it's your resume, and so you just have to trust your gut, I think, but take everybody's input, because everybody has a little piece, and you can just kind of make it yours, like that rubber band ball, and just go with it. So that's my only thing. There's no right answer is really the hardest part. It's very subjective, and the key words from the job description, they're literally in the job description, And that's what the bots actually look for. If they say they need a BMET that can lift 50 pounds, maybe you can put in there that you can lift 50 pounds, things like that. So
I go to the gym.
try not to,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
try not to overthink it. Try not to overthink it, but even something like that, like, physically fit, 50 plus pounds, no problem. Something, whatever you need to do to get a good, solid framework on that page, do it. You can't really do it wrong. You just might not be as shiny as somebody else, but that's okay. It's how you learn. I've told many people you're probably not going to get the first couple jobs that you apply for. It's one of those things. This is not your dream college. This is your dream job. And you're going to have to make sure that you have alternates as you move along, because whoever gets that job might not work out. And then you can apply to theirs 6 months or a year from now. It's okay. It's just, you're trying to find the right place for the moment. So don't overthink it. Oh, so we kind of talked about the benefits with the relocation, possible funding, and the possible sign-on bonuses depending on the location. What other kind of benefits are you seeing that are being offered for the entry level to maybe mid-tier?
It varies based on the company, whether you're working for a hospital, an ISO, OEM, that definitely varies. But, typical benefits can be listed on the job description. So 401k, dental, vision, kind of the basic benefits. But some companies, don't be discouraged if you don't see that on the job description. That's kind of a conversation that some employers wait to have until you're maybe into your second or even third or final round of the interview.
Really? Okay.
They don't want to necessarily give away salary, benefits, PTO, anything like that, your exact work hours, until they're confident that you're someone they would want to disclose that information to. So if you're having those conversations with the employer, know that you are very close to that offer letter. Another thing with that, we had a great conversation with some other professors in Dallas at the MD Expo. And one professor at D said that he had a student go into an interview, and the first thing he asked about was PTO, paid time off. Don't do that. Don't go into an interview and ask directly only about the benefits in your first interview. They're very, very important to ask, because that's something you need. It should be in your plan once you get an offer letter. But maybe hold off on stuff like that until a little bit further down the road, because it's definitely a conversation you're going to have and you need to have. But the first few interviews, I think, are strictly on who you are, your experience, your skills, and why you would be the right fit. That was a little off topic, but that's just
No. Actually, it's a transition, because I was going to ask you if you can provide any insights on the hiring process and what they could expect. 1 interview, 5 interviews, obviously company dependent, but just typically.
Mm-hmm. I think with specifically some employers that we have, so we send the resume immediately, and just based off the resume, they like to give a first initial phone call. We'll just call you up and, want to have that first initial conversation, hear a little bit more about your experience, why you applied for the job. They might go over some details specifically about the job, but I think the first call is usually a kind of get to know you. It maybe will last about 30 minutes, and it's usually over the phone. After that, it moves on to a more serious round. So that could be with just the recruiter again, or if it's a hiring manager, and that gets a little bit more interview-like. So, the typical skills, strengths, a time that you had to pivot in one of your prior jobs, kind of the harder questions where you really have to focus and prepare for. And then I think maybe if you're looking towards a third interview, that could be close to your final interview. And that's when they normally like to bring in a department head, or a manager that you'll be working directly under. So usually there's maybe 2 people with that. And then I think by the third interview, you should know whether there'll be one more, which might happen, but usually you'll see an offer letter after a third interview. But again, it can vary, because I know we speak to a lot of employers that say they need someone hired yesterday. So they'll find someone they immediately click with, and you could get offered a job after the first. It just varies. So that's why you always got to put your best foot forward and just be ready with any questions, and always be ready to sell yourself and know exactly your skills and strengths.
So I think it's really important to point out that there are companies that are like, hey, we need to hire yesterday. It's important to know why they wanted to hire yesterday. Which kind of brings me to, like, I want you guys to know that, like, you guys are getting a degree or a certificate, you're entering a professional world. Some of you have jobs, this is when you need to start looking at a career, right? So these interviews are more, or are just as much about the employer to you as you are to the employer. So ask tough questions. Why is this job open? Why is this such an emergency? Those are okay to ask. Like, you're interviewing them as well. So that's something I ask. Like, what can I expect from this position? What type of manager are you? Like, how do you manage? What are the training opportunities? What are promotion opportunities, career advancement, and stuff like that?
Yes, always at the very end, I know a lot of employers will say, do you have any questions for me? And like Cody just said, that's your time to really get more information. The number one question I would like to ask employers is, why did you choose to join this team? Why are you working for this company? Why have you stayed so long? Why, get kind of their viewpoint, because they could really influence if you want to accept the job or not, because you are interviewing and you're on the side that, getting a lot of questions, but at the end of the day, you're the one that accepts it. So make sure that you feel like it's a great fit.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. So may I ask, why the last person decided to transition to a new job, or is there any information you can give me on that? Definitely. Maybe not the first question, right? Like Kristen said, wait until they ask. But I would definitely write them down, because my brain, when it's on fire, I have to, like, notes.
And
Oh yeah, I did have this question. And
we've
then
done Mr. Bond and I have been a part. We've started doing these in course, or week 6, I guess, webinars, whatever, with different people throughout the industry. And I think one of the common things we've heard, or even at the MD Expo, is employers are looking for engagement. So if you have questions you're asking, if you've done research on their company, that shows you're interested in the job. And a lot of people don't ask questions. So that's something else to help set you apart from the other candidates.
A question I always got when I was interviewing was, why do you want to work for our company? And if you don't have a great answer for that, other than I need a job and I need to start making money, they might disregard you. So maybe look up what their core values are, their philosophy. And we have it specifically, I know, agility. We have employer pages on HTM Jobs that are just little paragraphs about us, company information. So read that. And if they ask, why do you want to work for us? Well, I see that you really value trust and this and that and that. And that will really make you stand out. Not only that it's a great answer, but you did your research, like Cody was saying.
yeah, that would be. I've even heard less research type of questions. They're like, oh, you said you were from, Montana. If I were to go there, what would be a good place for me to go? Like, that was the person being interviewed asking the person offering the job.
Yeah.
And it just helped bridge that connection, that they're not going to forget you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, what? That makes sense. That was totally like, I'm gonna have to do that from now on. Like, it's definitely a good idea. All right, Marcus, are you ready? I'm gonna put the pressure on you a little bit.
Gosh, okay.
Okay, so you're a BMet right now.
Yes.
So here's a job interview question for you. Because you're going to the CBET school for a reason, right? So what is your motivation and what is your goal once you're done here?
My motivation, I'm going to tell you, like I tell everybody here, my motivation is to reach the extent of my knowledge to provide the best service to my customers possible, whether that be researching new products to field in their environments for patients. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to reach the top of my scale so I can be the best I can be for both my customers and the patients.
That's a great answer.
You
Higher.
got me, bro. You got me. Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. So I've had this reference as an elevator speech. You got 30 seconds to tell me why I should hire you. Something like that. That would do it. That would be like, all right, give me your resume. I'm gonna go read it. You know what I mean? So that's how you sell yourself. He had no idea I was gonna ask him. I don't even know if he says that. He said he says it all the time, but that's the tenacity that will show you are somebody that needs to be hired. So all of you, Ricky, Marcus, Sadia, like Elvin, Nathaniel, and Mark, like all of you have it. It's just getting it out. Some of you are more quiet than others, and it's okay. I used to be like that. Okay, Mr. Brummett is still getting out, right? But it's all, you all have to sell yourselves. You guys have to have the best product to sell that's better than everybody else's, and it's you. And so just be ready. All right. Does anybody have any last minute question? Or you're all just ready to go?
I was just wondering if the LinkedIn was mandatory during the registration process on the website. I was looking to see if I could still register before I make the LinkedIn.
Absolutely. That's just something that you can put in there for Sydney and I to see. And then this slide that I just put up here, if you already have a LinkedIn, these are QR codes. If you want to scan your screen and connect with us on LinkedIn, you can do that. But it's great to hear that you're going to create one. I think LinkedIn is such a great resource to network with people. The number one thing that we talked about in Dallas with a lot of people is it's nice to just connect and see what other coworkers or anyone in the HTM field is doing, especially once you join a company, to kind of affiliate yourself with them to show your work experience there. Because a lot of people and employers will go straight to LinkedIn to look up your name to see what pops up. But it's not a requirement, but it's great to hear. If you need any help with your LinkedIn account, let Sydney and I know.
I sure will. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. LinkedIn is one of those, it's like expected, but not required kind of things.
Nice.
And they will search you on Google. They'll just type your name into Google, and then LinkedIn should pop up. And one of the things that I did on my LinkedIn was I customized my URL. So like I am Mr. Bond. There's no numbers after my name. It's just LinkedIn Mr. Bond. And so the cool thing is it makes it really short. So if you don't customize it, it will just put a bunch of numbers behind it. But you can customize it, and then you can kind of make it yours. If somebody else has it, you can add your middle initial. You can put dashes in there, whatever, to kind of make it yours.
You know, and if you guys have ever seen the Better Biomed channel, Justin put on there something really unique where he actually put one of these codes where they QF codes that you know, on the corner of his resume, so they could take their phone and it goes to his LinkedIn page.
Right.
It's really, I thought it was really cool.
It is. That's a neat way.
But your LinkedIn is great for networking. It's great for looking for a job. Honestly, if you don't have one, Sadia, they usually offer like a 14-day or a month or something like that, like premium, where you can utilize their professional services to go over a resume. You can view others who like viewed your profiles, like employers that have viewed your profile. There's also a lot of good groups on there for like biomedical associations. I would encourage you to join one in your area. It links you with other professionals. It also, they do a lot of biomed associations also have local events training. So it's another way, like the HTM mixers and the expos, to get out and meet biomeds in your area.
So Elvin did have a quick question. He's asking, is there much of a difference in a person who does not have experience in the BMed area, but has an associate's versus somebody who only has a certificate to be chosen, like when you're competing? So neither person has experience, but somebody has an associate's, and somebody has a certificate. So an associate takes a lot more effort. It takes a lot more energy, a lot more tenacity, right? But I think even in that situation, they're going to call you both possibly, and then it's up to you to sell yourself past that. Well, okay, you have an associate's, you're good at book work. Is that going to make you a good BMAT? Maybe. What else have you learned? What else have you tried? What else have you, broken and then learned how to repair? Things like that. That's what they're going to want to hear. Having a certificate is also a good thing, right? Maybe that other person's only 19 or 20 or 23 and you're like closer to 28. Well, you should have an associate's maybe by then, depending on the roles that you're trying to fill. So that's my take. I don't know if Kristen or Sydney, you have any suggestions on that?
I agree. When we send resumes over to the employer through our quick and easy online application, it is very rare that they just disregard it without even the first initial phone call, unless it's someone that just does not meet any of the requirements whatsoever. They at least pick up the phone and get that first initial phone call of, okay, I'm seeing a couple of things here, but can you tell me a little bit more about this? And like Christian said, that's where you really sell yourself. Know, again, know your worth, know what you know how to fix, what you can do, what you're capable of. And that's what really sets you apart, no matter what prior experience you have. If you can show them that you have the verbal skills and that you're ready to learn the technical skills that you might not already have, that's a huge point in your favor.
Right. Some people might call it thirsty, right? Or hungry, right? You're hungry. You're thirsty for that knowledge. You want to get it and make it yours. You want to transform it. And you got to communicate that. And that's why in all of my classes, I have you guys doing these discussions, doing these summaries to get those thoughts out of your head. Just give me what you got, because you don't know when I'm going to ask you, what would you tell an interviewer? Marcus just blew me away. He did an amazing job, but that's why I'm trying to get you to do that. Some of these classes are easier than others, but my job is to get you out the door with the best possible readiness that I can give you. And so that's why we do this. I'm glad that you all are here, and I really appreciate your time, effort, and energy to the whole entire HTM community. Even though you're a part of a team, you guys have been the face, at least from my point of view, for at least the last 2 weeks. And I know you guys are going to just become like the hood ornaments of HTM jobs. So keep up the great work, and please reach out to them if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns beyond this webinar. And we've been recording this the whole time, so it will be available to you later as well. So, all right, thank you all for your time, and I will see you all in discussions.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Thanks, guys.